Be excellent to each other and party on. We're back for another Legacy League, and today we're experimenting with all 1-drops. We're playing 20 Bolt deck. This is a new deck that I have been kicking around ideas with Quirios, my friend from up north in, I believe, Montreal, longtime Legacy brewer on MTG The Source. If you know what that is, you know. He and I have been kicking around the idea of just playing all 1-drops. And essentially just hoping that your opponent doesn't have Chalice. And if they have Chalice, well, we've got Molten Collapse in the sideboard for that. This is also very good against Baragoyf, Murktide, things like that. It can also kill a Flip Tomio if that comes up, though. If that comes up, we're probably not doing very well anyway. So this is the Moonshadow deck that I've been playing, but we're playing a lot more bolts. We're playing 20 bolts. We have Bump in the Night, which is the black lightning bolt effect. Target opponent loses 3 life. It has flashback. I don't expect that to come up, but we do technically have 6 fetchable lands in the deck that we could use to flashback Bump in the Night for the final 3 damage. So we are playing bad lands in this deck. This is not a no reserve list deck. This is kind of expensive because it's playing 4 bad lands. And the reason for that is you just want to have enough fetchables to be able to reliably cast your spells. Everything is 1 mana, and we just hope they don't draw a Chalice. We hope that we can get some damage in with DRC, with Moonshadow, and that we can bolt them out. The sideboard is 4 ley lines, and then we're rocking the 4 Thoughtseize, 4 Duress. All right, so let's evaluate this hand. Unknown opponent, likely a fair gamer over there. This is a turn 1 Moonshadow, and we could just like grow it immediately and get it out of range and draw some more cards. This has double land, which is fine. We'll eventually find a use for those lands. At the very least, we can Nethergoyf and Lava Spike next turn. But we are going to lead with Moonshadow. All right, and we do not want to risk them having something nasty like a Bowmaster, so we're just going to crack these immediately. Like, they could have Dark Ritual Bowmasters, and that'd be very awkward and unnecessary, since we're just always going to draw anyway. So, random look at their hand. They have a Lotus Petal. Okay, so this could be a combo deck. Random look at the top. Seasoned Engineer. Okay, so this has evasion. I think we're actually in a decent place if they can't remove this. So we get our 2 cards. It's going to be hard to kill them with these. This also could be a Chalice deck that we're up against. So if they're a Chalice deck, we just can't cast anything for the rest of the game, unfortunately. That's just how it works. I don't expect to run into Chalice a lot in this league because it's like, I don't know, like 2% of the meta. Maybe it's like closer to like 5 or 6%, but it's not high. Okay, there it is. All right. Well, we're almost certainly going to lose, unfortunately. That's a real bummer. There's no reason to play. Well, actually, hear me out. I am going to actually play this out because I want to play into the Chalice and grow this. This is my only ticket to victory. So I'll pay the 2 life. Ouch. Red, DRC. Gets countered. Unfortunately, they can't forget their Chalice trigger on here. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. Let's always yield to that. Okay, and now we're hitting for 5. All right, so I think next turn they are going to get... I mean, I can trigger it one more time with Nethergoyf. This is probably going to be Seasoned Engineer. But if they have a Solitude, I'll probably just scoop. Chalice on 0. Okay. Well, it's good that they had the redundant Chalice because we don't really care at this point. It doesn't matter how many cards we draw. We're not going to draw out of this. Okay, City of Traders. They could hardcast like a Fury or something here. But it won't kill this. Pyrogoyf would... Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. So the real question is, do they have a second creature? I think we're probably dead anyway. Because they can just take their time. But we are going to be able to hit them here. We don't get a land because we don't have any basics. That's another thing. We're kind of vulnerable to like Blood Moon type effects. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. It gets countered. Okay. We could technically bring it back from the grave later if we wanted to. So we'll attack for 6 here. If they just kill this, then we can never win, unfortunately. But I think they are going to take the initiative here. Again, I realize that this deck looks like total garbage in the face of Chalice, but you just hope that they're not on Chalice, and they usually aren't. All right, so they have played this Divide card. I have no idea what it does, but here comes their big lady, the Seasoned Engineer. So they opted to hang back, and so they can kill this in combat. And I can only kill one of their creatures. And there's just no path for me to win, unfortunately. So they're buffing that up. Oh, they're attacking. Okay, well, this gives me a window to potentially win. It's unlikely. Actually, I'm not sure that I can win. Because they're hitting for 7. I drop to 11. And next turn, I take probably at least 10. Plus, I take the trap. So I would need to kill now. And there's no way that I can do that. What do you think about this? 3 rate does technically grow this. But that's the maximum it can grow. Yeah. Yeah, so we're just going to die just shy, unfortunately. There'll be a 2. It doesn't matter. I'll just concede. Okay, so now what we do is we go ahead and bring in our Molten Collapse, which we're always going to bring in against fair decks. The card that I'm going to take out here is Bump of the Night is technically the weakest. So I'll take that out. It can't target creatures. It can't target planeswalkers like Lava Spike can. If they have Leyline, it's also a beating, but we can potentially burn them out. I'm going to keep this and just hope that they don't have Leyline of the Void. They are mulliganing, though. And since their deck heavily mulligans, they may just go ahead and mulligan to a Leyline of the Void while they're at it, which would be catastrophic. But we are going to get, 4 additional draws, so we may be able to find a Molten Collapse to deal with Chalice / a creature. Like, we can even potentially kill both. Okay, so it doesn't look like they have Leyline, which is nice. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. And this will just be a 1/2, unfortunately. It's not going to be very big. I will go ahead and take a look at their top card, which is Lotus Petal. Okay, and now I'm going to take a look at a random card in their hand. Mox, Chrome Mox, Ancient Tomb. Okay, they've got a lot of mana over there. And this one I could just wait and do in their upkeep. Or I guess technically anytime during their turn. I'll do it at their end step. So we get 3 cards. All right, there's the Molten Collapse. That's good. And DRC. DRC has evasion. DRC will not yet be delirious, but we can play DRC. They're going to do some damage to themselves, which is a nice help to us. Chrome Mox. I think they're likely to get the initiative here. If I draw a fetch or I could crack this during their turn. And if I do, then I have Descend, and I could blow up the Mox and kill the creature. And I think that might be the line. Okay, they're just casting a Witch Enchanter. That's fine. They're going to target my Mox, so I won't be able to do the play, but it's not worth killing them anyway. Okay, so I will get my draw trigger. Interesting use of resources there just to cast that. I don't even know why that's in their deck. Frankly, I don't have any enchantments, or I do have some artifacts, but they all die very quickly here. So we get our card. All right, Bump of the Night. Okay, and we did get this land, so we could go ahead and kill this and this. And then we look totally dumb if they do have a Chalice, but why would they have done what they did there? I think I'd do that. It may seem extreme, like maybe it's correct to hold it, but like cutting them off land, I think is correct, and then guaranteeing we also hit. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Then I can burn them out later, assuming they don't top deck a Chalice, which would be unfortunate. So this is destroy target creature or planeswalker, target non-creature. Okay, so we'll do that. And we can select both. Let's go boom, boom. And I think just getting the tempo on our side is going to be good. They're dropping to 15. Anything they cast, they drop to 13. And Netherwave might be able to go the whole way. But like if they don't have exactly Chalice right now, we can flame them out really epically. They do have a Petal. Okay, so they are still going to be able to cast a creature. This Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Winota. Okay. That's fine. So I can... I already have Sorcery in the graveyard. Huh. I am going to want to... I might as well play out the land. I'll get 2 cracks at this. So I'm going to go DRC first. Let's go ahead and Bump in the Night. Since Chain Lightning can technically target their stuff, we should use that last. That is a instant which grows Nethergoyf, gives us Delirium. Yeah, let's bin it. And now I'll just go ahead and do this. It's probably better actually to play out the Nethergoyf. Yeah, we'll play that out. Attack for 4 here. They don't have good attacks. Okay, and they're like totally dead next turn. Even if they like Chalice, I'm not even that worried about it because I've got such a board presence. Okay. Right, so Molten Collapse was quite good there. Let's just run it back. I mean, Thoughtseize, you could make an argument on the play, but I don't think it's a good argument. I think we just want to get them dead. And we're on the draw anyway, not on the play. The reason I think Thoughtseize is potentially good is because they don't have a lot of Oh man, this hand sucks. Unfortunately, we had to throw this back. Like none of these represent surveils either with the current build. We're just like cutting it razor thin with mana sources. 16 lands in essentially what is functionally a 48 card deck. This is a keep. We will hope to dodge Chalice here. So, I mean, this draws us deeper. We don't technically need the second land. I'm going to put this back though, and I'll fetch. Yeah. Wasteland of the Void. That's unfortunate, but we might be able to survive anyway. There's one fewer card they have in their hand to do stuff with. Chalice on 0. Okay, well that's unfortunate. So that counters our Urza's Bauble. So I will go ahead and Street Wraith here. Okay, we drew a land. I'm going to just go get I am going to play at the Moon Shadow just because it's an evasive creature that can attack. But it's going to be hard to win here, especially if they have the follow-up Chalice. Like, it'll be nigh impossible. I'll just hold this because it's intimidating and it serves no purpose to play it out and get it countered. We might be able to blow up the Chalice at some point. Like, we'd have to be very far ahead to blow up their Chalice on 0 just to free our bauble, but who knows? Maybe we do get to live the dream there. So if they have a soul land, they're dangerously close to victory here. But if it's just like another dirtily land, or if it's like a Mox or a Spirit Guide or something, like a lot of their mana doesn't tap for 2 and it doesn't get them closer to where they need to be. Okay, they do have City of Traders, which is bad news. And that's like extra bad news because it doesn't do them damage. At least Ancient Tomb, they're like doing damage to themselves. Oh no, they have the dude right now. They are going to give us the initiative, but it doesn't really matter. So they can go get a land, probably a mountain, maybe a plains. We're going to take the initiative, but it doesn't do anything for us. And if they have a second creature, we're really cooked. If I drew a second burn spell that could be targeted, I could actually take her out, which I think would probably be worth doing. Okay, instead we draw a card that we can't cast. I think I just want to aim these lava spikes, and then I'll hold this just in case I can clear a creature later. Okay, so we get the initiative. So this does technically save us some life because they won't be able to immediately buff. And I am just going to go ahead and fire these lava spikes off. It's possible that like holding them is correct, but I want to be mana efficient in case I do find a way. Like, actually, I'm trying to think of what I would draw that would require me to be mana efficient now. Maybe there isn't a practical reason. Okay, so they are sacrificing that City of Traders, but they probably have a second creature which will negate my ability to attack with Moon Shadow and get the initiative back. Okay, this might be a second season engineer, which... Oh, Winota is even worse. Non-human, so she is human, so she's not going to trigger Winota. Okay, so she gets buffed. She's now a 4/5, and if they forge onto her, then unfortunately, well, the card that they revealed was a Rabble Master, so that produces a lot of bodies, unfortunately. They only have 2 lands, but like if they bin the Rabble Master because they didn't have enough land to cast it. Okay, they're opting to scry, and they topped both cards, so we are cooked, fam. This is not a good matchup for us, unfortunately. And that's a terrible draw. I will go ahead and take the initiative and forge. This will probably be the last turn I can even get an attack in, sadly. I do want to just go ahead and fire off the bolt. The reason is they could Chalice on 1, and then I don't even get to use the bolt. So I can't descend. I can't descend when Leyline's out, unfortunately. So I'm never going to be able to get both modes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and... I think it is correct to forge here because we're just going to need to get lucky to win, frankly, at this point. Because they're going to attack for 8, and then one of these, like, if they have another creature, it'll flip. Like, if they were able to play that out, it would flip. I could lost well because it dodges a lot of stuff. I think I'm just going to forge. All right, and we will go ahead and fire off the Chain Lightning. I mean, like, if they don't know that I have the Chain Lightning, they may be more cavalier with their attack. And I need to get lucky. So if I deal 6 damage to them and I do 5 off of the thing, I'll still need a second burn spell. So if hypothetically they cast a Chalice, it just doesn't matter. But if they, there is a situation where I draw Molten Collapse. And if I draw Molten Collapse, that means that I won't be able to both Molten Collapse and Chain Lightning in the same turn. If I draw Molten Collapse and blow this up, though, I can go ahead and rip... No, I can't rip through these because of Leyline, so it doesn't even matter. I'll draw a bunch of cards, but it'll be too late. I think I'm going to go ahead and just do this. And like, I'm going to put them on notice that if they attack, they're probably dead. But like, I don't think they're just going to leave me with the initiative. If they have Spirit Guide, I could like bounce this back and kill my Moon Shadow. Okay. And I think we're almost certainly dead this turn. Okay. And now they have lots of mana, so they can play out, House Squad heavy. And this is going to trigger Winota. We'll need to be exceptionally lucky here. Like, because this counts toward Winota. And they're going to attack with all of them. And they're going to trust that one of these cards is going to do the trick. Like one of the top 6 will be a creature that will come in, attacked and tapped and attacking. Do they have a human? They do. Okay, so that's death. All right. That is 11-12. Exactly. Okay, so we're dead. Good game. Yeah, and they got an extra bonus, so I'll be at -1 here. I don't think I could have played this any differently other than just like straight up mulliganing, trying to find a different hand. Round 2, we've lost our first battle, and we're up against an unknown opponent. On the draw, I think this hand's fine. It's 2 lands. Got some cantrip ability. Nethergoyf can get kind of big. So we'll keep, and we're almost certainly just going to ram Nethergoyf here. Hedron Crab. Okay, so they're on a mill strategy. So I do think in this case, it's probably correct to go ahead and bolt this. I know people in the chat will be like, oh, it's a burn deck. Why are you bolting their creatures instead of bolting them? But like, we can absolutely win. We can take our time to win if they don't have this crab. This crab is the way that they win. And like their deck can win quite quickly. So let's try this. They could daze it. Okay, they didn't. All right. So again, like I love the people in the comments, but like people seem super critical that I'm like taking time off to deal with my opponent's Tamio or my opponent, in this case, Hedron Crab, when I could just be burning their face. And again, I'm here to tell you that there's no merit to cycling this now. I might draw a Moon Shadow. And if I'm going to draw a Moon Shadow, there's not really any merit to using either of these either, right? Yeah, I'll just, I'm trying to think what would even be beneficial to draw here. I think I just wait, just in case I draw Moon Shadow, because I've already got my next turn plays lined up here. Like this will hit my opponent and this will grow the Goyf further. It'll be like a 4-5 pretty quickly here. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to take a natural draw. Okay, Delta. So here, I'm going to play this out. I'll go ahead and play my Nethergoyf out. If they force it, it's actually very good for me because I can get it back pretty quickly. Okay. Interesting decision. They may have a second daze here. I think it's almost always a mistake. Oh, by the way, always be sure to fetch before you let the daze go on the stack. We'll let it resolve because then you can't fetch while it's resolving. And I've lost a game before like that. Okay, so this comes in, right? Do you want to daze a second time? Archive Trap. Okay. Well, I will mill 13 cards and probably have a really large Nethergoyf. Yeah, 5-6. And I have Bump of the Night to flashback, which is never going to happen. Let's go ahead and... I mean, the odds of me drawing a Nethergoyf or a Moon Shadow here, I don't have any in my graveyard, so it's actually reasonably high. I think I can chill for another turn cycle. I might want to flame them out really quick, though. Let's go ahead and just do this. Okay, they've got Field of Ruin. I'm not worried about that. That's like a... I'll just go ahead and draw both of them. Okay, Mesmeric Orb is very powerful. They may have some sort of like pseudo infinite combo with that. So I give 2 of my deck points, so to speak, to get deeper into my deck. Bolt Wave and Love Spike. Okay, so it's probably going to only take like 3 attacks because I will almost certainly resolve at least one of these. All right, they are not doing anything. They may have Archive Trap. Field of Ruin, they can force me to shuffle, and then they can Archive Trap me. Yeah, that resolves. Surgical Extraction on Lava Spike. That's extremely unfortunate because that takes one of the Lava Spikes out of my hand. It does reduce their life total. So I've still got 30... I'll have 32 cards left, I believe, after this. Yeah, they named the right card there. I've seen an uptick in this mill deck. Like, I've played against it twice this week. I don't know why. It doesn't seem very good, but we're about to see if it can beat, my deck. All right, so 32. Let's draw. There's that Moon Shadow. Okay. And their mill strategy is going to be pretty good for me here. I think I do go ahead. Man, I'm worried if they have like an Archive Trap. Can I live in fear? I do want to grow this because they'll be like basically dead on board. Let's see how much damage can I do? I do 5 now. And I don't believe there's a 6 type in my deck. So this is the max size Nethergriff's going to get. So if I swing for 5, and then this next turn, it's also swinging for 5. And we've got 1, 2, because this, all this does result in me drawing a card though. Also, if they find that card that's like until mana value 14, like I think that's actually like practically GG, because it's unlikely to hit any, like my street rates are already in my yard, so I'll almost certainly mill a ton. All right, let's go ahead and just do this now. And I guess I can play this out. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to street wraith. I know that costs me deck points, and deck points is just like how many cards are in my deck. But it grows the Moonshadow and potentially finds more action, like that lightning bolt. Okay, well, I can hold that for later. All right. And I might want to wait and just do that main phase, like on the turn that I think I'm going to win, which I guess is next turn. Just to reduce the number of cards to draw. I think taking that crab out was absolutely instrumental. I think if I didn't take that crab out, we'd probably be dead. Like, they're very close. They've got tons of mana. They can cast a giant spell here if they want to. So I'm going to float the red. For basic land. Okay, I don't have a basic land. We'll just pass. Do they have the archive trap? Okay, we won. All right. So here, I don't think there's actually any merit to bringing anything in. We just want to kill them. We'll see what their sideboard strategy is here. I don't know what Mill would be playing, frankly. All right, we're up a game in round 2 against Mill. If mono blue Mill is possible, like that might be a no reserve list deck that I could try on the channel. Let's see. So this doesn't have a turn 1 threat. I don't like it, frankly. I think it's better to mull. And in fact, mulling puts cards into our deck. So we have fewer cards, but they have to mill more cards. I mean, the ultimate like matchup is where you're playing like the Yorion deck versus Mill, and you're just 33% like harder to kill. I am gonna mulligan this. I think we mulligan this too. I'm a simple man. I'm just looking for threats. I guess the question is, like, we have Street Wraith to final land. We have these two to final land. This is a great hand. I don't want to mill any deeper, but I could like just fail to hit land. But this is the rare situation where I'm actually going to keep the no-lander because I just don't want to go any deeper. And sadly, I do think that it has to be Bolt Wave and Lava Spike that go back. This will fly over their crabs. Bolt is the most flexible card here. Yeah, we'll just hope to get lucky here. And final land. I don't think Mull to 4 is going to work. Those were pretty abysmal mulligans. But even one land and we're cooking. Go on deck. All right, let's take another try. All right, there we go. Nice. So I want to get Delirious, but I'll probably get Delirious anyway. They may have a daze for this. They dazed last game. Okay, that's cool. So I just want to get Delirious. I don't want to mill any deeper. I actually don't think I need that. And that's a land for my graveyard. Go ahead and do this and just see what's in their hand. I think I'll probably mill again. Okay, they have Scalding Tarn. Okay, that is fine because, like, well, I'll draw it. I mean, it's not bad. I'm going to draw a card anyway. Okay, so you have to really reevaluate all your heuristics and your instincts when you're playing against Mill because it's just like a completely different dimension that they're attacking you on. So we have, once we bolt next turn, either of the bolts, and it'll be Bolt Wave, we will have Delirium. So there's not really any reason that I need to bin this. I'm going to just keep it and then hope, like, yeah, I think I'll just do that. And then later I can use it to dodge like a completely dead draw. Propaganda. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, that's scary because Propaganda, the way it works is essentially, so I'll get my 2 cards here, one of which will be just another bauble. So if they wipe my graveyard for some reason, that bauble can be really useful because it can help me rebuild. They may just like go ahead and surgical or something. I'm not sure what they're doing here. All right, they've been an island. And we knew that the Tarn was on top. So, okay, so I get a bauble. Oh, chain lightning. Okay, good. So even if they manage to lock me down, like that, it's probably going to get double trigger. I assume they have a fetch. Okay. And this is why you kill these. This thing just like slaughters you. Okay, I've got Delirium now. Wait, I don't have Delirium? Okay, well, I'm close to Delirium. All right. Well, I have to kill this, frankly. You just have to kill it. And I know you're about to say, but, like, trust me. This will completely destroy us if we don't kill it. All All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I will get a attack in, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to attack anyway. All right, and they can fetch the trigger one last time here, and then I'll hit them for 3. And then once they get propaganda out, I can't attack. So it's an interesting situation where DRC really wants to attack, but you can't attack when propaganda's out because I won't have the mana for it. I mean, it's possible I find a land, and I do have the mana for it. I'll probably actually look for a land at this point. Do they have the counter spell? I'll definitely bin that. We don't want more creatures against the propaganda deck. We want DRC to do all the work herself. Okay, and now she's delirious. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and use this just to get information. I don't think that it's good enough. That is a burn spell. I'm looking for a land to pay for propaganda. But if they propaganda me, they're not actually doing anything to advance. Yeah, so there's a Misty on top of their deck. That would have been an ordeal. I'll go ahead and do this. Wind Shadow. Yeah, I don't want any more creatures. Again, I'm just looking for another land. I did bin a land before I saw the propaganda. And of course, they haven't. Yeah, the same propaganda, I guess. All right. And we're just going to hope that we can draw some combination of lands and burn so that we can continue to attack them and can burn them out. Moon Shadow is not a good draw here. Street Wraith. Yeah, I think it's very likely they just propaganda here. They take a turn off from propaganda. And what I can do is I can just bolt them a couple turns in a row and try to improve my draws. Propaganda. Creatures can't attack you unless their controlled players pays 2 for each creature. So again, like the fact that she can attack will be overridden, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. See if I find a land. I don't. So I guess I just go ahead and bolt. I'll bolt wave and then hopefully reveal a land. Bingo. Now they know to mull that away, of course, mill that away. So yeah, I'd love to attack. Pay 2 to declare this. No, I can't. Okay, well, she just gets snap unattacked. Okay. They're at 11. We just need 4 more burn spells, which is kind of a tall order. I mean, I did bin a bump in the night earlier. If we find a land, then, we've got nothing but momentum. 36 deck points currently. If they do a Merc Juke or something like that, it's actually very good because I've got a blocker and I've got a follow-up blocker. I would actually be very excited if they were Merc Tiding here. Tasha's Hideous Laughter exiles until they have exiled cards with a total mana value of 20 or greater. Well, unfortunately, friends, that is almost certainly death. We have 10 cards left in our deck. So now they can finish us off with basically any burn spell. I don't even know if I have a fetchable land. Let's just take a natural draw. I think we're super cooked. Well, I will go ahead and do this. And they're going to need a brick hard. I mean, they probably have the spell that's going to finish us off in hand. Right. They daze that. That's fine. I don't really care. I probably shouldn't bin anything at this point. Yeah, I'm not going to bin that. Wait, let's take a look and just see if we even have a fetchable land in our deck. So I have 1 Badlands, 2 Badlands in the graveyard, and a Blood Crypt. So that's 3, 4. So there are 2 more. And let's take a look at our exile. There's the Badlands. So there's 1 more Blood Crypt in our deck. Well, I'm just going to chill and see if they can kill me. And, maybe if I get a chance to attack, it's worth, but probably not. They got 26 cards for that Tasha's Hideous Laughter. That's how low my curve is. They kept their top, so they have almost certainly a win con. They fetch. Okay, weird to keep it and then fetch. I guess they just didn't want to, they wanted to maximize the number of copies they had. So this is just going to be Tishana's Hideous Laughter probably. Yeah, and I've got no counterplay. I don't imagine what I could draw here. I already know what I'm going to draw, and it's not going to be enough. Staring Bridge doesn't make a difference here. Again, we're just dead to the laughter. I'm trying to think of, is there any combination of cards they could... How many Street Wraiths have we... We've got 2 Street Wraiths. Yeah, I think we can just scoop it up. All right. I'm not going to bring in any discard spells. I just want to max the amount of damage I'm doing. Their deck is slow. It wins critical turn 4 or something. Now this deck is way slower than my explosive Lotus Petal version of the deck. But I think it can still beat a turn 4. Especially because we're on the play here. They may have Leyline of the Void in their side. Oh, this is a good hand. I'm going to keep this. Please don't have Leyline. That would really wreck me. But I mean, I do still have 9 burn spells. Or 9 damaging burn spells. They roll to 6. Okay. No Leyline. That's great. So we'll go ahead and play this out. And we do have bolts that can kill crabs. And again, I want to emphasize, people are going to be in the comments, of course you lost because you took a turn off bolting their face to bolt the crab. And I'm just going to say, like, if you're a burn player, but you don't play a lot of Legacy, that might make sense. But if you play a lot of Legacy, that doesn't make any sense at all. And I'll leave it at that. Okay, so we're going to get our bauble trigger here, and we have more land. They have 19 life. It's going to be very difficult to burn them out completely. We do want a threat. Okay, we're ripping a lot of lands here. I'm going to bolt wave them. I mean, if I fetch now, I reduce the likelihood of them finding, and who knows if I'll even fetch again later. But I just don't want them to archive trap me. And this is the lowest likelihood of them archive trapping me if I do it now. Because they're going to draw a card, and it'll increase the likelihood they have an archive trap. And they can cast archive trap no matter what. Like if I fetch at any point and they have an archive trap, it's going to get cast for free. So there's only so much you can do to avoid it. You just hope they don't draw them. They can even make me shuffle to trigger the archive trap. So I think it's a fool's errand trying to play around it, frankly. What I can do is I can put the wooded foothills out there. Okay, they do have Leyline in their 75. We just got lucky that they didn't have it in their opener. They dodged it. Okay. So I'm just going to be patient with these bolts. Okay, Street Wraith. I'm going to use it. Okay, Bubble. I'm going to use it. Propaganda. Okay, there's no reason not to play this land out. It's just that, like, fetching becomes a little nastier. I mean, if I go ahead and do this now, I reduce the likelihood of them finding Archive Trap. Well, I guess they're going to find Archive Trap anyway, and they can cast it after the fact, so it doesn't really matter. I'll grab the Blood Crypt, just so I don't have to worry about playing it tapped later, or taking damage. I don't think the life will matter at all. Okay, so we get to draw Bolt Wave. Okay, so we've got 9 damage and burn. Propaganda, that's fine. I'm going to just tactically fire off one of these bolts. Okay, there are 12. Okay, Bolt Wave. And I'll Lava Spike as well. Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Okay. Well. Yep. Let's race. If I fetch a card now, I reduce the total. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I mean, this may turn on them killing me if they still have the card. But I think they would have just cast it last turn. They saw all these cards anyway. Just get the Blood Crypt out tapped. Okay. And now this happens and we lose. Oh. Only 20 cards. It's not the end. We just need to draw a burn spell and for them to not have interaction. Creature is not the end if we draw that. Okay, let's try this. And let's try this. Does this get the force? This gets the dead. All right, we got our first match. We're 1-1 with this 20 bolt deck. And I think the density of bolts was very good there. Right, round 3. We are up against an unknown opponent, but they generally play fair decks. This hand doesn't do a lot. I don't expect them to have Wasteland. I think I'm going to keep this because it's got double bubble to regrow, or triple bubble rather. We get a lot of information, and we can just start firing off these burn spells. They may have, if they're on Grixis control, then they may have access to Bargoyf. Okay. So that's not a big deal, but they may be able to remove our creatures pretty easily. So I think what I want to do here is just go ahead and see the top card of my deck. Well, let's get the information out of their hand first, because I want to see what we're up against, and then I can figure out what's going to be good, and then I can bubble myself. Caracas. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at another card. Brainstorm. Okay. So I think the thing we want to do here, I just bubble ourselves here, just see what we're going to draw, and decide whether we really want that. Bolt Wave. Do I want a Bolt Wave? I think it's actually fine. I'm just going to try to do massive damage to them. Not massive, but like big chunks of damage. This will be an experiment. So we're going to try to just burn them out, basically. Then we can pass. We're going to draw 3 new cards. And because they have probably a lot of removal in their deck, like, okay, they're main phasing this Brainstorm. Okay, and then our bubbles go in the stack. Bolt Wave, we knew about. Also, you may be wondering why I'm talking a little quieter now. My kids just went to bed, so... Okay, we got a 3rd land, which is not what we want to see. And a 4th land. Okay, we're probably going to lose just because our rips have been pretty abysmal. But if they waste us, that's actually fine. Okay, I mean, that's buying us time, basically. Okay, well, more baubles. I guess we'll take a look at our top card here, and then I might just shock this in Chain Lightning. We're never going to be casting Bump in the Night from the graveyard. We can be confident of that. Chain Lightning, I do want that. I think I'm just going to play this out. Ouch. And I'm going to go ahead and Bolt Wave. All right, they're going to have to present a way to win pretty soon. Because, okay, another Brainstorm. So we knew that they had one Brainstorm. They're probably looking for like Stoneforge or something like that if that's in their range. So we have Chain Lightning. We have triple Chain Lightning. Okay, so this is probably Felia, unfortunately. And we don't have a good answer for Felia. Gosh, we're just ripping lands like crazy. This sucks. All right, well, I don't see any point in doing extra damage to ourselves. I'm going to go ahead and play this out. And I could save a Bolt for Felia, but I might just need to kill them, sadly. They could be on the tempo version, which plays days. So I think I'm just going to hold back for one more turn. I mean, they did waste us. I think the tempo version sucks, frankly, but it might be good enough to beat our deck. So I love this island. All right, so they're at 11. And again, I'm not going to risk any of these getting dazed. Unfortunately, they are going to be able to Felia Quantum Riddler here. Here it comes. Oh, well, that's great for us. I was really worried about Felia Quantum Riddler. Underground Sea. Okay. There's no reason not to play these out. Okay. I mean, just more of this. That's fine. Let's go and do this. Yeah, I want to do this to them first. Now the question is, do I want to go ahead and just bolt them a second time here? I don't think I want to tip my hand as to how much burn I have access to. And also, I need to have Chain Lightning just in case they do find Felia. This Bowmaster is probably into Kaito is what I'm imagining. They may be on just 3-color Esper tempo, essentially. It's just like blue-black tempo, but they're playing white, so they have better removal. And here's Kaito. Fine. We just need another burn spell, and we'll be okay. All right, they're plussing. They're trying to get us dead. That makes sense. If I fetch now, I can, well, okay. Send all this burn at them. If they have a force or something, then they can stop this. With double days. They could plow this to gain a life, but it's not going to be enough to save. All right. Do you have a force? They could force to 1. They force to 1. Okay. So we are going to take a big crack from them, and we'll see whether we can find one of our remaining burn spells. So we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 20. So that means we have 13 in 43 cards. All right, we'll take a lot of damage. We basically need to rip it this turn or we're dead, I believe, because we're taking 6 here. I'll fetch the Thin. Don't ever let anybody shame you for fetching the Thin. They plow their own creature. Okay, well, that's okay. And then they are going to do what? Teferi? Fire Nation Occupation. When this enchanter, you create a ring your opponent's turn, create a 2/2 red soldier with Firebending 1. What is Firebending? Oh, whenever this attacks. Okay, so they can have mana. Well, they have a lot of mana over there. I do have to fetch the Thin, sadly. So they get their creature. We're still dead in like likely 2 turn attacks. We know they have a Bowmaster in hand. So yeah, we have to win now, I think. Let's draw one of our many burn spells. Please, deck. Come on. It's not. We're probably dead. Probably. And then they have 1 card in hand. They can't Bowmaster, actually, so they can't trigger this. Yeah, so they'll be able to trigger it next turn. This is not going to win, but this is a wall they'll have to get through. Okay, and they're just going to do it like next turn and kill us. On. Moonshadow's another blocker. I think I'm just going to chill. They Bowmaster here, and at least they have to ping that. And then, so they've got 2/2. They've got I think I still be attacking. Yeah, I think I can survive if they Bowmaster this. But if they have a second spell, then I can't stop them. They'll have enough. This might be used in conjunction with Ajani. I'm trying to think of why. I mean, the fact that this creates red creatures would be helpful for Ajani. Yeah, I'm not going to attack there. I need to keep this back just to survive. So here's the Bowmaster. Yeah, and they get a 2/2. They have access to just insane amounts of mana here. They could absolutely ping me instead, but I think that they do that. Yeah, they should do that. Right? Like I'm still alive, right? I'm like barely still alive. I think I'm alive by 1. Okay, they have another spell, so I'm dead. Right. So that was an experiment in not having a threat and not mulling a hand that just had a lot of burn. And what turn did we die on? Turn 5? Turn 6? And the only thing that they did, turn 7, to stop us was they forced 1 of our burn spells. So I just don't think going all in on burn is the way to go. I think we really do need to have a threat that's doing some damage. This is the type of matchup where I just don't think we change anything. Molten Collapse deals with Berry. We technically can also deal with Kaito. What will we bring out? If we brought it in, so this deals with Kaito, it deals with Baragoyf, it deals with Flip Tamio. I mean, none of those seem that big of a deal, but like, it's hard to imagine. They're not going to be wasting me most likely. So I think that this will be castable. It's probably better than like a Bump in the Night. Yeah, I'll just try that. Now, Bolt Wave is better than Bump in the Night, by the way, because it doesn't target. This does target. And then Lava Spike is better because it can hit Planeswalkers. And then Ultra the best ones. Creatures as well. Yep, this is fine. This is just Moonshadow. And then I'll immediately trigger. This is like a threat heavy hand. They may be able to like wipe my board. They mulled a 5. Okay, that's a auspicious start. I'm going to have to leave with Blood Crypt here because I want to keep this to trigger Moonshadow. Right, and I intentionally play the bubble last, even though I could play it earlier because I want to hide. Like, I don't want them to force thinking, oh, they can't grow their Moonshadow. But I can grow Moonshadow. So the random card we see is Meticulous Archive. Okay, it's a dirtly one. And we're just going to hope the next turn fetch and like double Nethergoyf and just put an insane amount of pressure on the table. Okay, White Tower. So that's probably Plow. Because like, why would you play that instead of the card that we know that they have in hand? So I'm going to go ahead and do this now and just see if I can get extra life if they're going to Plow me. Okay, they're drawing Island. Nethergoyf. I'm going to fetch. And this is the time when they should Plow. If they want to minimize the amount of life they give me, which they are kind of a tempo deck, so they should. Or Badlands here. And we're going to go ahead and play a second Nethergoyf. Then we'll attack for 4. And this will get plowed. And they just wanted full information about what we were going to do before they plowed. All right, so we won't do any damage to them. But we still have 2 threats. Another card. They could have Wrath of the Skies, which would wreck us. So I'll just keep this in hand for now. They're not threatening Bowmasters here. Okay, Bump in the Night. All right, there's no reason not to play with the Badlands. I'm going to go ahead and it's a sorcery. We can get these up to 4 or 5 here. I'm going to go and do this now. Okay, Bolt Wave. Well, I'm going to go ahead and go to combat and see what they do here. I will Lightning Bolt them just to get another type in the yard. I think they're going to plow one of them. Okay. They're at 4. I could Bolt Wave just to... I think it's smarter to wait and Bolt Wave next turn just in case they have a daze. That would be very embarrassing. Because they might fetch to dead in order to... Well, they need one more land and it might have to be a fetch. Okay, there's the island. We knew about that. So I think these are probably Wrath of the Skies. But I can rebuild. Maybe it was correct to Bolt Wave last turn just because now if they Wrath, yeah, here's Wrath, I think. I could rebuild immediately, but now I can't rebuild with the Bolt Wave in tow. I guess I've played my opponents like those style of decks so much that like Wrath is always on my radar. But at least we got a plow out of their hand. So I'm going to go ahead and see what's in their hand. Well, we're going to use this right now before they can waste us. That's fortuitous. We'll get rid of an artifact, a land, and yeah, I mean, that's a lot. We're going to get another sorcery before it reduces them to a non-lethal Nethergoyf. So we get our card. All right, that's not a good card. But that does allow us to grow Nethergoyf and bring back the other Nethergoyf if they remove this one. So I actually hope they waste me here just to reduce, like, so they don't have too much interaction. Okay, and if they fetch, they're dead. So they need to gain life somehow. Is good. What I'm going to go ahead and do is just play this out just in case they kill this. Okay, they fetched a 3. All right, you want to block? They have the Bowmasters, I think. That is fine. I'll wait for it to target and I'll just fetch. All right, I'm very happy with the sequence. Or Badlands. If she grows, she survives. Now they have to chump. And they also have to have a force or a plow here. They may just plow right now. Okay, they don't. But I mean, they should plow my creature. All right, they do have some sort of spell they're casting here. Okay, Blue Elemental Blast. Got it. All right, so they can still win. This is a 5/6 though. It's pretty big, and I've got the other Nethergoyf coming next turn. Nuking my graveyard would be extremely good if they have a way to do that. This is not going to save them unless they also have a daze. They do have Hardcast Force Up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do this first. Okay, we got it. All right. I didn't learn anything new about their deck, really. Like, they're just on what I expected them to be on, which is a very solid and tasteful blue-white tempo, kind of like with black splash for the Kaito and Baragoi. Very good deck, but again, I don't like to play 3-color decks in Legacy right now just because there are so many Wastelands. But I did play that at Eternal Weekend 2023, back before, of course, Frog was banned. And I went 6-0 in the first 6 rounds. That's how strong that deck was. All right, so this is, a lot of looks at a land, and we're drawing a card. I mean, I'm tempted to keep this because DRC is really strong. Molten Collapse is potentially very good. So I will keep this, and there is a chance that I could get blown the heck out here. I am also going to do a tremendous amount of damage to myself. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. We're doing this before Bowmasters is online. There we go. Love it. I'm going to go ahead and just try this first, and that way I can max the triggers I get. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can get a trigger here. We're almost certainly going to get Delirium here. Okay, they're fetching. I think they're just going to plow now, which is because it minimized, like I'm only going to get 1 trigger. Yeah. Oh, what's this? Oh, they're blasting it. Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, that's slightly better though, because it goes in my graveyard. I think this is an above average draw, and it deals with Felia. So let's get some information. I think am I gonna bobble myself? No, I already know what's on top of my deck. Okay. So we know that they have a plow in hand and an underground sea on top. Okay. Well, that plow in hand is a huge ordeal. I think I just want to go ahead and draw the bolt. Now I can't do anything with this bobble. I'll probably just hold it. I am going to go ahead and just, am I going to draw now? Like I could organically draw Moonshadow. This can trigger Molten Collapse. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go ahead and do this now. Okay, so we have the second land. I guess I could just do this to get it out of the way. Yeah, if I do it now, then they don't get to Bowmaster me. Okay, yeah, then we already know what they're drawing. All right. Okay, well, that's not good at all for us, unfortunately. They basically were able to clear our threat. Okay, that's a lot of burn, though. Okay, that might be good. We'll see how much damage they do to themselves here. So I imagine Felia is coming. Well, I think I just want a Bolt Wave here. And then when Felia comes out, I can hit her. And I could always just fire off a Lightning Bolt in the end step if I need to. That's fine. I am going to go ahead and just start firing these off. I will be fetching lands here. I'm low in life. So I had nearly enough burn to kill them. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. And then I have Bolt if they Bowmaster me so they don't get to grow their guy, but I'm not sure if that's correct. I do need to draw through this though. Okay, they are drawing a Felia, so I will need a Bolt for that. She is just too strong. I know burn aficionados throw all the burn in their face. I mean, this is actually a window where I can do it. They may have one. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. I don't want to waste the mana because I'm going to be bolting in there end step next turn, unless they have Felia right now, which I don't think they do because they have a Felia on top. They could have a Felia in hand and on top. Okay, they didn't. Great. And they don't seem to have Bowmaster, which is great. Okay, and we have a second land. So we can Molten Collapse if we need to kill. But I think most likely I just need to burn their Felia here. Burn. Oh, that's good. Okay, so I think what we do here is we just bump. And if they fetch or do anything, like I could let the Felia go and just Molten Collapse it the following turn. I'm trying to think of what they could do. I mean, it's just hard. Let's think about this. So Felia comes in, we burn her. I think we just have to go everything at the dome. The Kaito, it's ordeal, but there's nothing to get blinked here. We haven't seen Days out of their deck, have we? They may not have it, and I'm worried that they're going to waste me, and it's going to take me 2 turns to deploy all this burn. I'm just going to go for it. In burn, we trust. They're at 4. All right. Next turn, we Molten Collapse and potentially blow up Felia. We have Bolt. Okay, there she is. But, I mean, that was a very conscious decision. You heard me labor over it, whether to bolt her or not. But now, if we draw like a second burn spell, we're fine. I think this is Kaito. They could always plow their Kaito to get out of burn range. So Felia is like, this is a pretty low value Felia here. Just hitting me for 2 down to 9. I think they're going to go for Kaito here. Okay, they opted not to. Okay. That was a pretty low impact turn. High likelihood that they have some sort of interaction here. All right, so my instinct is to, I'm low in life. I think I do need, I'll go and play this out. I'm trying to think, what could they do? They Bowmaster. They could even have double Bowmaster. If they have double Bowmaster, then I'm taking 6, 7, 8. It'd be a 1, so I can't fetch if I want to plan around that contingency. I could just Molten Collapse this to take the heat off. I think I'm going to try that because I just genuinely, like, they may have two of them, but they didn't. I don't think they actually have two. Then if they like force this for some reason, I can just bolt them and hopefully kill them. They may have the Pyroblast, and if this draws the Hydroblast, I'll be grateful. Okay, they're just going to plow their own creature, which is fun. Okay, and now I'll just pass. So that was still a 1-for-1, which, not that like we're a card advantage deck that cares, but I'm just going to let this go. I don't think they have Kaito. And I just need to draw a second burn spell and then their okay, Strand. Okay, no Kaito, no Kaito. So I don't want to fetch it thin here because it shaves a turn off. Well, actually, it doesn't shave a turn off. Assuming that they don't have any other. I am going to go ahead and fetch it thin. Let's get the Blood Crypt out. All right. Come on, card that wins. Okay, I'm going to play this out. There's no merit to not doing it. And then I'm going to chill. Gosh, they have Hardcast Force up potentially. Yeah, I can't have that happen. I just have to be patient. They have wasted me, so I'm never... Right? They wasted me at some point? Yeah, they did. So I'm never going to be able to flashback the Bump in the Night for the final damage. So I'll just have to chill. If they have another Bowmaster, they win. They're fetching to 5. Probably surveilling. Actually, because that means... I mean, I could use this as a window to bolt them, but I don't... Yeah. If they just have Hardcast Force, I just lose. There's nothing I'm going to draw that's going to beat Hardcast Force. I might as well wait. I've got the mana. Maybe they screw up somehow. So if I fetch, then I'm dead. So I can't fetch anymore. So I can natural draw. Gosh, deck, come on. I'm going to be patient. I'm just going to wait one more turn cycle. They have to kill me. I could technically survive if I bolt now, but like, what am I surviving for? Like a Netherwife would be pretty good. I think I'm dead because even if I draw a bolt, they likely have Hardcast Force here. They have Kaito, I'm dead too. They have another Bowmaster. Like I basically have to draw bolt in for them to not have any interact, which they almost certainly have. Okay, let's try this. They're thinking about countering it, so we've already lost, unfortunately. Yeah, there's the Hardcast Force that I figured they had. Okay, well, good game. Blech. All right, so we're 1-2. Again, like these are good. Fire Blast is worse, frankly. Like some of you might be thinking, well, you're not playing Fire Blast. Fire Blast, like, it wouldn't have been any better here, I don't think. I guess they technically got down to 4 at one point, but Fire Blast is terrible against Wasteland decks. Right, we are up against a likely blue-black tempo player. This hand is risky because it only has one land, and they could be playing Wasteland, but I am going to play the Dragon Rage Chandler turn 1, and we'll hopefully just burn them out gradually. I'm not going to throw this back. You got to be bold when you play decks like this, frankly. Right, and this will, likely get sniped by a Bowmaster if we don't get Delirium quickly. So we're definitely going to be casting this Bolt Wave probably and just trying to get deeper because we can use Lava Spike on some of their creatures. Okay, basic island open. All right, that is a huge relief. So let's go ahead and start with this Bolt Wave. And we're just looking to put things into the yard like that, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and fetch and also Lava Spike them and just try to get Delirium. So we need like a creature or an artifact. Perfect. Okay, that's a very good turn for us. Now we'll attack them down to 11. We've got our aggro online, and they're actually pretty close to dead just with the cards we have in our hand. They're brainstorming. So this is more in line with the power level of the blue-black deck with the Lotus Petal in terms of like how quickly we're doing damage. So this is exciting. But of course we have the stability of just having more mana. I guess technically we have the same number of mana, but like the spells are all 1-drops. So brainstorming a second time, which means they're not going to be Bowmastering. They may find a Fatal Push here. They're at 10. Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, that does technically save them a life. They're dead. Unless they can counter one of these. So if I draw a land, then they can't counter it. I'll Bump in the Night. Yeah, so let's go ahead and do this first. They've seen it. And I'm just looking to... Okay, they forced that. That's fine. And they forced it before I got the Surveil. I'll leave this kill spell on top. I guess I could just hide the fact that I have Bump in the Night. Because if I play... Yeah, they scooped to that. They were going to be at 1, and I had more burn coming. Okay, so against this deck, they do have likely Barragoyf and Murktide. Do I want to bring in Molten Collapse? I think the previous game had Molten Collapse been just a burn spell, I would have been fine. I think I'm not going to bring it in here. They may bring in Leyline if they have it, but I'm just going to trust in trying to flame them out rather than remove their stuff. If they play a Beargoyf, I might be able to just race it with burn. That's a small possibility, but it's almost certainly death if they get that much mana. The good news is, like, aside from Nethergoyf, like, our other 2 threats have evasion, so we may be able to get a crack around Beargoyf in addition to, like, burn to flame them out. This is great. So this is very likely Delirium before they get to Bowmasters. Well, it's not necessarily Delirium before they get to Bowmasters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fetch the Badlands here, and we are going to attempt to use all these bubbles before they can interact. If the days here is very good. We'll just bin that. No need to draw that. Take a look at what they're drawing. Actually, you know what? I just want to get the trigger immediately. Okay, Chain Lightning is worth keeping because I'm just looking to do direct damage to them with this deck. Okay, so... Oh, wait, actually, you know what? I needed the freaking Chain Lightning there. I needed that in the yard, so this didn't die. Now it's going to die. There's nothing I can do about it either because I used both my triggers. Yeah, I punted. Sorry, my excellent friends. All right, let's go ahead and see their top card. Drawing a Wasteland, okay. I mean, it's possible they just don't have it. Yeah, I punted so hard. I just needed to put that in the yard and I would have been fine. And we would have had like a... But instead, like, they've got a free snack for their Bowmaster and we're just not going to do any damage. Tragedy. Okay, Bump of the Night. Like, we might be able to burn them out anyway. Okay, so when they fetch, I think I just need to do this immediately. And now it doesn't matter when they time it. They're not going to get it. Okay, but there's of course. And I look like a total jackass. Sorry, my excellent friends. Again, I was like, oh, more burn. No, that's not what I needed to do. What I needed to do was actually kill them. Okay, well, we're drawing a lot of burn here. I mean, there's a chance that we need to rebuild the yard. I'm just going to start firing this off. I'm not going to play around days. Because like they've got the momentum on their side now. So we need to draw at least 2 more burn spells, I think. Kaito is pretty bad. Okay, Barry. So we can flame out Barry, and I think we have to, unfortunately. Like, we'll definitely lose if we don't kill him, Barry. So I'm going to attempt to kill him. We just happen to have, like, the right amount of removal. Because, like, we could hit for 12, but it's just not enough, sadly. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, Barry just ends the game for us. And this is a perfect example of, like, if I just sequenced differently, like, or if I put the Chain Lightning in the graveyard, I think this would have been an easy win. Because we definitely got the cards. Our deck hooked us up. This has been an insane sequence of draws. So brainstorming. I kind of hope they use the Wasteland because I don't really need the mana. If they find another Beargoyf, technically I can kill that too. But then I'm just like rotoless. Let's see what we draw. Come on. Burn spells. I'm going to go ahead and just do this. This is the weakest one. And I think I don't wait because they cut me off land and then things get ugly. So we need them to fetch or do something that does some damage to themselves. Don't have Kaito, please. They have a land. Okay, if they fetch, that would be inadvisable. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. All right, and we'll see what they do here. I don't want them to be able to Hardcast Force. There's a very real possibility that they can do that if I wait. I'm just going to chill, though, because if they Hardcast Force, they're going to have to force one of my next... Like, they'll actually technically have to fetch. And now we're going to go ahead before they can get their mana under them. They don't have Force Negation. They have a Force, okay. But that would have been like a Hardcast Force, if that makes sense. So if they find Kaito, they might be able to win here. We just need to draw a single burn spell. But it's looking like we're probably going to have a game 3. So I get extremely lucky. They don't have Hardcast Force up. Like a Pyro will do it. Kaito will do a lot of damage. Let's see. They won't be able to redeploy. They do find Kaito. It's 4 damage. And the Bowmaster means that I'm dead next turn. So I have to draw it right now. They should just 0. So they're looking for like a Hydroblast. Or like a Force of Will will do it too. That's not enough. Okay, I'm not going to show it to him. Let's just go. And again, it would have been a win had I not punted. Okay, so did we learn anything? We saw Barry. I mean, this can deal with Kaito and potentially remove that other thing. I think we want to play it. Just to get the bumps. Because, I mean, we had to use 2 burn spells. And if we could have just used 1 Molten Collapse, that would have been... Right, don't screw us, deck. Don't do us dirty. All right, this is a keep. All right, I'm going to go ahead and Street Wraith first. All right, and I'll just play this DRC. And then we will hope that they do not waste us. But I don't know that they waste into an active DRC because they're going to want to find a removal spell for it. I'm very worried about Wasteland. Fatal Push would also be annoying. Hydroblast. This is the Fatal Push. Okay. Well, the good news is Nethergoyf is going to be able to come out and maybe do something. Bad news is they know that I don't have a second land. Do I have a second land? So we're going to play this out, and it's almost certainly not going to be good enough. Wasteland will completely sink us. They could even daze this if they don't want to deal with it. Okay, but we have 15 lands in our deck, and so we have slightly less than 1 in 3 chance of drawing land here, and they don't have the Wasteland yet. Douthie is kind of annoying, but I can kill him. But when I kill him, unfortunately, so I have to ask myself, do I just want to go ahead and clear him? I think the answer is yes, because my clock is way slower. I could, where I just play out the Netherglyph, because it's possible that, let's think about this. So if I clear him, and they may very well daze, but if I clear him, I'll be doing more damage in future turns. I suspect the play is to go ahead and Netherglyph here, and just ignore Douthie, because if I find a red source, I could like Molten Collapse, which would be better than having to bolt him, because he would technically be destroyed, and then this would go to my graveyard, and we count as because of the damage-based nature of these spells, they get exiled before going to the graveyard. Okay, so this is unfortunate, but it is doing 2 damage to themselves. They could put one of these into my graveyard and then use it against me, but I don't think they're going to want to do that because I'm low in life. Okay, Tamio isn't really annoying because she's a blocker. Okay, and they do it at the Wasteland, so this game's over probably. Like even if I draw, I'll have to use a Chain Lightning on this, and they may have a daze, and then they may also have another Wasteland. I'm trying to think of scenarios in which I can somehow win, but I can't think of very many. All right, that's actually insane. That was exactly what we needed. So let's go get our Wasteland, or our Badlands rather. The other land that is not good. Okay, and I fully expect this to get dazed, but it needs to go. They may be trying to decide whether to daze it or I don't know what they're thinking about. Yeah, Force Negation. Okay, I will attack for 2, and I'm not going to completely give up because if I draw Molten Collapse, it can do something. If I draw a Fetch plus Molten Collapse and they flip this, then, but they already know about the Molten Collapse, they shouldn't play into it. They probably just want to waste me here and then end the game. Okay, so they're going to attack and get a clue and do 3 damage. I'm at 9. But them flipping, them flipping her is a liability because Molten Collapse, if I find a Fetch, does a lot of damage. But they do want to find a Wasteland and Shadow Realm me. Okay, so I take the 3. You have the Wasteland. You have the Wasteland, you get the GGs. Okay. Okay, Flood of Strand. Okay, so they may have days. They've got 1 card in hand, but they can crack and get a clue. Come on, fetch land. Okay, I think there's any point in playing anymore. We could, they can regrow a Force Negation, and there's just no way I ever win. There's no point in attacking here. I can't get any cards in my graveyard. Douthie's very good against our deck. All right, that's fine. That was their last card, and now I have to draw a card. I'm not sure. Like, if I just find a fetch next turn, I can still Molten Collapse them. We're gonna need a miracle though. Like, they should regrow the Force Negation here. They're crazy to do that unless they already have because I can kill both of these things and just completely stall their momentum. Now I just kill this and this, but then this is still there. A headache. Come on, fetch. Let me punish them. Okay. Final round, we're up against an unknown opponent on the draw. This hand is a whole lot of bolts without any action, but I'm going to keep it just for science. We need every card we can get, frankly. I just don't. Okay, they're dealing damage to themselves. That's good. And I can clear this. And I do think you need to clear this. So this is a life gain creature against our. So they're likely on the. The high upside thing is to just go ahead and take the damage here, and then we have fetch in case we draw Moonshadow. So I'm going to do that. I should have actually probably bobbled myself, but this has to happen. Again, to the burn stalwarts who are just race it. No, you're not going to race life link. Okay, and then I will go ahead and just do this and see what they're drawing so I can get deeper into my deck because I would like to find a threat. Okay, Staff of the Storyteller. So that's a dirtily card. I'm not worried about that. That's obviously good with Ocelot Pride though. So we're going to need to do a lot of damage, but thankfully they're playing this crappy land that does damage to them and is also, source. I just can't get behind these in Legacy. Don't play these in Legacy. They're not Legacy playable. So what we're going to do now is just start burning their faces. So we'll start with a Lava Spike, and then we will go ahead and also throw a Chain Lightning at them before they're able to bounce it back at us. I probably should have used both the Chain Lightnings there, but I'm not terribly worried about them using this against me. And hopefully they waste us or do something like that that's not consequential. There we go. Waste me. Come on. You don't want me to have a lot of mana. A Johnny. Okay. This does charge the staff, which they're not going to have time to use. So I think I am going to just ignore Johnny here because I've got 11. Yeah, I'll let them attack me. They don't own a red permanent yet, but that could change very quickly. Okay, Nethergoyf is worth casting. So if I play the Nethergoyf, do I want to just kill this so I can potentially attack in? If I play this out, I have a blocker, and then I let it flip, and then maybe like it's one less body on the table. I don't know, distracts them. I don't know. They get to create a new creature every turn. I think the answer is we put them into the proverbial abyss with Nethergoyf. And then I'm just going to go ahead and Chain Lightning while they're tapped out. And I will Chain Lightning in their face. So we're going to see whether this works out. I might really regret not taking out a Johnny. But this does damage every turn and they tap it. So it's possible that we can like lock them off of being able to tap. Depending on what they draw. Okay, Karakas is very good. So they can block bounce and create extra creatures if they need to. This is totally fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. I'm happy to 1-for-1 here. Right, so they're coming across for 4 here. That's fine. We're up into 12. They still can't tap the staff unless they want to take a damage. Okay, like a raptor or something like that would really break it open. Cause a lot of grief. Actually, like, okay, another Johnny. Okay, so they're doing this to flip a Johnny. But this gives them a planeswalker and a new body, but it doesn't give them... And they did go down in life to do that. So now they have this and they can make another cat. They get another charge counter on the, which they, again, hopefully will not live long enough to use. They get to make another cat, and then they've got 7 on the table. Oh, 7, yeah. So next turn, they can make me lose all but one of my opponents. Okay, let's see what we draw here. If they can make me lose all but one of my opponents, do I want to hold this? I can't imagine them doing that. I think what they're going to do is they can plus... and then they hit me for 9. I'm going to play this out, and then I'll just chill. I'm not going to kill a Johnny. Again, I'm going to hope that they make a mistake like tapping this or... I'll get this back in like 2. It won't be in time to help them because they're drawing a card. That's fine. Again, if they make the mistake of tapping this, they're dead. They're pushing to 7, so I'm taking a lot here. So I think what I need to do here is just see, can I survive? There's no way that I can survive here. Okay. So I do want to go ahead and fetch the Thin. Moonshadow, like any of those things are dead draws. We just need to draw exactly a burn spell. This is another situation where, you know, Quirios was very adamant that we shouldn't be playing any Surveillance, but like a Surveillance would be very helpful here. Okay. So no. Again, I hope I'm not like unfairly representing Quirios in his arguments. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I can hold this just in case they make the mistake of tapping that. I can't imagine them doing that though. Like, and killing one of these will not save me. I would have needed to bolt both of these, and then they would have just probably been able to kill me anyway. Yeah, let's see. All right, I'm trying to think, is there anything that I could need 3 mana for? No. Everything in my deck is 1 mana. Come on, give me something good. All right, they might have a plow, and a plow will save them. But they don't have white. This will kill them when they tap. And I'd be very interested in hearing whether they had a plow. Because they could have, like, if this were any other land, they could have, like, tapped, plowed, stayed alive, you know, but they couldn't tap this because they were down to 1. That was interesting. Okay. So, against their deck, I'm not making any changes. They said, on top of my mana. Okay. Yeah, very close game. We were on the draw there. We're going to be on the draw again, but we do have game 3. Yeah, I think this is a trap. I can't think of a permanent they would play that like we couldn't just burn. So yeah, I'm going to just focus on burning them. Thoughtseize is almost certainly a trap against their aggro deck because they're pressuring me a lot too. This is a great hand because this is a big Moonshadow. And we've got some burn. Some redraws. Yeah. So we haven't seen any black. So they're just on the red-white, I think. Deafening Silence. That is actually not that bad here, but I don't recommend bringing this in against my deck. I think I could just play, you know, one spell a turn, and that'll be just fine for me. Okay, so now let's play my spell for the turn, and let's see what's in their hand. So basically, they kind of like mulligan themselves by doing what they did. So I think this is a very relevant sideboard card, but I just think this isn't the right we're going to draw a card. And technically I can like start, like if I draw a lightning bolt, I can use it during my turn or during their turn. So I can get the spell that way too. If they're able to remove my Moon Shadow, it will be a problem. Okay. And I think I might bolt that just because there's no way they double block this. All right, let's think about this. I do want to go ahead and yeah, I think I just attack and I see what they do. No, because they double block, I can't get. I think, yeah, again, I know that it's not like pure to be bolting their dudes, but I want to do damage and I also want to not die while I'm doing that damage. So I'm going to do it like this. And then we're just going to take it a little slower. There's no reason for me to not just fetch the ETB tap land here. So I've already cast my spell for the turn. Taken 3. Like they need pretty explosive plays here to catch up with me because I've got 9 burn on tap and they're going to need multiple blockers to stop this probably. That very good card. So that might win them the game. And the card is Static Prison. That's a good card. All right. Well, we've got a ball game because they're going to be hitting me harder than I hit them, but they're starting from a lower life total. 15. Just going to surveil ticket because they've already used their spell for... Oh, they have a non-creature spell. Okay. They have a creature spell. All right. I feel pretty dead here. This card is just going to solo. So I don't have like board wipe type stuff, and that's what you really need to win this matchup, unfortunately. Unless you get lucky like I did the previous round. Okay, so here... I think I just need to start spiking them and bolting weighting them. I can fetch and surveil a bad card out of my deck, but there's nothing I can do to stop this. And this is going to gain life. Yeah, like if I get like another Goyf in the next turn or two, that might be good enough to keep this at bay. All right, I'm not going to concede. I was tempted to concede, but I'm not going to. I think it's more important that I just get my burn spells off, and I'll just fetch Surveil. Or no, I can't fetch Surveil. I'll just fetch. They have tons of energy, so this Moon Shadow will not be back in time. I feel comfortable conceding here. And the reason is they're about to just go crazy with cats. They have the City's Blessing now, so okay. I'll run it back. And you could say, oh, Molten Collapse will deal with that card, but I don't think that card is the problem. The problem is that they had, this is not a keep, I don't think. It's just, this is fine. I'll put back a land here. I'll go in Street Wraith first. They didn't have Leyline, which is nice. They may not have thought to bring it in, or they may just have been unlucky and not found it. Okay, so we're going to Catacombs, and we're going to go ahead and go here, and then we'll pass. And Goyf can get bigger if they don't have a removal spell, but they usually do. They've got like 6 removal spells in their deck. They may have extras that they can bring in. Okay, that's totally fine. Again, I think we're going to see this game. I think that this not being some action and being that is hopefully going to be of consequence. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and play this. Now I'm going to fetch. So we'll always yield to these. Get a Badlands. Then I am going to go ahead and Lava Spike them. And then I can cast one of these bolts on their turn in subsequent turns. So, subsequent turns I can bolt them on their turn. Even if I have like a bobble or something else I needed. Because I mean, imagine, like, I don't know what else is in their sideboard, but just imagine whatever they took out to make way for this. Imagine this is a creature. Like, again, I haven't played their deck, so I don't know, but I just feel this is very wrong. And it wouldn't have been a consequence last game, because even if I'd been able to cast as many burn spells as I wanted, I wouldn't have been able to cast them quickly. Or I wouldn't have had enough burn, rather. Okay, Johnny's back. So I'll just bolt to Johnny so I can get through with Moon Shadow. Yeah, there's no way it's correct to play the bobble here. We do need a bolt. This does grow my Goyf a little bit. All right, so we'll attack for 6 here, half their life total. And you may have thought, like, oh, but you could just, like burn them out. And it's true, but like that is an illegal block. This has Menace, right? They are going to chump there. And now, pretty close to killing them. They're going to need like another one of these or like something that puts 2 bodies on the table. After would be good. Static Prison is good. I'm just going to hold this bolt just for now. I know that like there may not be a window to cast it later. I need to kill. Okay, that sucks. I might just go ahead and bolt them now. Is that right though? I think it's fine. I don't want them to, yeah, I'm going to bolt now. Executive decision. Like 90% of my bolts are going at their face. Okay. And now I don't think they have a second play, but they may have a plow. Okay. Ocelot Pride. So I'm punished. I'm punished for bolting because now they're going to gain life. So I shouldn't have bolted. That's a bummer. Let's go ahead and do this first because I absolutely would have bolted that. And, Voice of Victory. That's not that big of a deal. But yeah, they'll need to hold back their blockers if they want to block this next turn, or they need to find a removal spell. And I will get this back in like 2 turns, which will be pretty. The game may still be going on. Bolt Wave. Okay, they're dead. I think that's death, unless they have a Wasteland right now and a way to deal with Moonshadow. Unfortunately, no, they're going to gain life. So if they can clear Moonshadow, they'll gain a life, but they need to keep it back to block. So they're surveilling. So if they Ocelot Pride, they're dead. Like if they attack with Ocelot Pride, they're going to gain 4, but they're going to lose 4, unless I'm missing something. Solitude. I'm trying to think of why they're doing what they're doing, other than that it is. Okay. Oh, they get a blocker for this. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay, now they can double block. Do I want to just play the DRC here? I can do the DRC and the bubble, and then I still have Bolt Wave, and this can actually block this when it attacks. I actually don't think that this is necessary. I'd rather just draw Burn. Let's see what they're drawing over there. Hexing Sculpture. Okay, that's basically a brick because it's not going to save them from DRC. There's a double block here if they want to survive. Okay. Yeah, this game has gone very well for us. I'm glad I didn't flinch and like board in sideboard cards because these bolts are going to be really good. Okay, so we get to draw a card. What do we draw? Chain Lightning. Okay, even more devastation. So they've got one more turn without another Glyph on the table, and then that comes back too. Ocelot Pride has to be kamikaze if they want to gain life. Okay, Sculpture's out, which means that the last card has to basically be Plow for this or this. And even if it is, yeah, I don't see how they survive. Let's go ahead and do this. I'll just do it with the Bolt Wave. I'll do it before combat. All right, we got the GGs. So that was a 2-3. Not happy with this deck, frankly. The first match was like pretty much like a nightmare matchup. It was a Chalice matchup. I'll fully acknowledge that I made at least one punt that I threw away a game. Yeah, that could have been a 3-2 actually, because I remember that I punted with the Dragon Rage Chandler. I didn't bin the Chain Lightning, which would have gotten to Delirious, and then they had the Bowmaster immediately afterwards, so maximum punish. I think I would have won that game. So it's a 3-2 in our hearts, but like I punted, and frankly, you will too. From time to time, everybody punts. I've been punting a lot less than I used to, but I still punt sometimes, and that was clearly a punt where it was like immediately after. Like the worst punts are when you stop for a second and you're like immediately after you make the move that can't be taken back. I just punted, So, the Molten Collapse deck was useful. Frankly, like I like the idea of just having tons of burn. Like it won us a lot of games that we probably had no. By the way, every single match went to 3 games. I think, right? Yeah, like literally every single we got no 2-0s and we didn't get 0-2'd at all. So this is not a deck that like I would sleeve up to play in paper. And like my standard for a deck I'd sleeve up to play in paper is that I feel like I've got a reasonable chance against the field. I think this deck is extremely vulnerable, even with the Molten Collapse, to Chalice. And even though that doesn't represent a huge portion, so there's some things you could do. I took out the Bowmasters at Quirio's suggestion. I do like Bowmasters a lot. I think it's the best black creature ever printed. This is very vulnerable to Leyline, but the idea is with 20 burn spells, you're not that vulnerable to really anything because you can always just burn your opponent out, and we did that, right? But I think we did lose a match where we got Leylined. And you can expect like probably about a third to half of decks have 4 Leylines in their sideboard because of Oops All spells and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I like the version I played before that has the Lotus Petal. I understand that you will occasionally draw Lotus Petal, but it just feels so much more powerful when you're able to quickly deploy threats and win on turn 3. This deck felt like it was winning on turn like 4 or 5 or 6. I do believe this is probably way better than original, like traditional burn, but it doesn't feel like an optimal burn list. And again, like no shade to the burn community and people that are like diehard burn, but like it's just not a good deck, frankly. Like I did through like a series of miracles 3-2 it in one league, but I've also 0-5'd it once. And I've just had a lot of kind of mediocre performances like this one where, because I think the thing you think about it, like in your mind's eye, you're like, oh yeah, I just need to cast 7 of these burn spells and they're dead, or practically in Legacy, it's really 6 because they're going to do at least 2 points of damage to themselves. But it's very hard to actually cast all those and not have those interacted with. Like our Esper Tempo player opponent, they had the Force and they hard casted on one of our things, and that made all the difference. I was like, it is going to come down to it. The baubles were fine. We never got mana screwed, really. I think maybe there were some situations where we got wasted out, but I'd say overall, I'm very happy with the decision to put 16 lands. And it would be nice to have a Surveil land instead of one of these Blood Crypts. I understand that will occasionally come up where you don't get a turn 1 play, but I just feel like this is a mistake, frankly, not to have a Raucous Theater. Like, you're still going to usually have... there will be occasional hands where that's your 1 land and you can't cast your turn 1 threat. But like, there were so many situations where I was just sitting there doing nothing. And I was like, wow, if I just brick and draw a land here, I'm dead deterministically on board. Like, I absolutely have to draw the theater. Or rather, I absolutely have to draw like a burn spell or a creature or some sort of action. And I feel like this also feeding Moonshadow and potentially, helping turn on Delirium or grow another Goyf, like this is just necessary in my humble opinion, even though it feels bad. So again, like Quirios, if you're still watching, again, I really appreciate your input, but maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels wrong not to have a Raucous Theater in here. And I'm not somebody who puts these in all my decks. In fact, a lot of my decks don't even have a Surveil land, but I feel like in this deck, especially, you probably want one. So I'll leave it there. There's a lot of fun putting 20 burn spells that literally 1 mana do 3 damage to the dome. It's really fun. Somebody else who's out there should try this list and just see if you can do better than I did. Maybe that 1 punt, maybe you just don't even get a single punt in a league. I actually don't know that I punted more than once. I might have had some less obvious punts, but I feel like I played pretty tight and I did my best to realize the potential of this deck. There was one situation where I think I got punished because my opponent wasted and then I bolted, and I was just not sure if I was ever going to be able to cast that bolt. And also I was under, that was in the final round when I was under Deafening Silence. Again, don't board in Deafening Silence against fair deck. Just don't do it. It's really just there for Storm type decks, but it is very good against Storm. And if you don't have access to blue spells, or white, if you're on literal red white, I think Deafening Silence is a necessity, unfortunately. But yeah, when I was in that situation and they wasted my land and I bolted them, and then they're like, cool, now I'm gonna play a freaking Ocelot Pride, and I was just I deflated there. So that was a punt as well, but it was unpunished because we were ultimately able to get across the line that game. I think is that the game we get across the line? I think it was. All right. Anyway. Really fun to shout out to Quirios for recommending I play this deck and encouraging me to continue to iterate on burn. If you are a burn enthusiast, tell your burn enthusiast friends about this experiment. Tell them to watch the league and leave their thoughts in the comments. And also, if you have ideas for how I can build better burn decks, I'm just not satisfied with Goblin Guide. I just don't think Goblin Guide is a 2026 playable legacy card, and you need to iterate on the design of burn. It is not good enough, frankly. And so experiments like this, I think, are necessary if we want to keep burn alive as an archetype. I realize that this is not a budget deck because of the Badlands, but if you're going to do 2-color decks with as low to the ground as this, I feel like you need dual lands. And some people were complaining that I was dying to my Blood Crypts in my other deck. Oh, it feels so bad to watch you lose mirrors because you have Blood Crypts and they have Badlands and stuff like that, right? But if you want to play budget lists, you do have to make those sacrifices, and you are going to occasionally lose because of these cards. But overall, I think in general, you can probably get away most of the time with playing shocks in this type of very rapid, aggro deck. I'll leave it there. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on.